That is the pinpoint of where I believe I come from and why I would say that there was not necessarily a passion for artwork initially. It was the passion for writing. I was writing about books for Publishers Weekly. I was writing about music for different magazines around that time, precursors to magazines like Vibe. Then the art came because it was something else to write about. It was something that would give you at least a small check in return for your time. And so because of that background in a wider, I believe, cultural sphere, there was a desire to talk about art in a way that was easily digestible, in a way that made sense to a lot of people. And that's kind of the background I come from. I mean, I can say that, there are some cliches to the idea of art writing and it coming out of a literary conversation, it coming specifically out of poetry. I think of people I really look up to or looked up to, like Frank O'Hara, who was a great poet but also worked at MoMA. One of the most important writers for me was Peter Schjeldahl, who continues to write for The New Yorker now, and is somebody who writes with extreme clarity, while also dealing with, I think, some pretty weighty and pretty knotty issues at the same time. So that's kind of where I was coming from. I also grew up in the context of things like Vibe magazine when they first came into existence, and being around writers like Greg Tate and writers like Rob Marriott and writers like Scott Polson Bryant and Bones Malone and Kevin Powell, and writers who were writing about music in a way that was much more expansive than I think it ever had been. And all of us came from a generation that was very much spurned on by hip hop and by music. So I think you had to have a level of clarity. You had to try and speak, a wider sphere.